Hey guys, you got Rob here from CA Guns, coming at you today with a quick tabletop review of the Beretta Px4 Storm. This gun gets a lot of attention and we get a lot of questions asked about this gun, so we wanted to do a quick review on it. We're not going to go too far in depth. We're going to share some opinions and we're going to look at some things of it. So let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room right off the bat, and that is, just the way the gun looks. Yeah, it looks like a phaser from Star Wars or something along those lines. It's very space age. It has some very cool lines on it. Definitely not traditional slab-sided like I think a lot of us are used to, especially us Glock and 1911 guys. It does have large, oversized controls, and it don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. And change can be good. If people never challenge the status quo, we would never have innovation. So kudos for Beretta to follow through on this design and execute it so well. So let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about this and why it has some of the things that it does. So we're going to go ahead and we'll talk a little bit about the slide. The slide is machined from one solid piece of bar stock, which is a definite plus. That being said, there are some machining marks in the serrations and on some of the lines, but nothing major. Finish seems to be pretty solid. It's held up pretty well. This is not my gun. This gun does belong to Chris, and I know he likes this gun quite a bit, and he's had it for quite some time. I don't know how much holster wear it has seen. There's a little bit of wear on the finish from a holster, but I don't know how much time it's spent in one. I have a feeling this is more of a nightstand gun for him. But overall, it seems to have held up pretty well to most of the wear that it has had. Ergonomics. Let's talk about this for a second, because the ergonomics, they're different. I'm not going to say they're bad. I'm not going to say they're great. They're different, and I think this would make a great first gun for somebody. And I've heard other people say that, and I understand why. Because if you're a 1911 guy or a Glock guy and you train with those firearms or those platforms a lot, you pick this up and it feels foreign. It feels more than foreign. It feels alien. It's different. Your grip angle is a little bit different. For me, with this gun, you got to be okay with running it a little bit differently than you would traditionally. Traditionally, I come up and I come over and I power stroke. That's painful. Frankly, it's painful to do with this gun. You have these large, oversized levers for your decocker and your safety, which, again, external safety. I'm going to rant for a second here. Not a huge fan of an external safety for a couple of reasons. While shooting this gun, I have come over the top and I have knocked it onto safety just like there, or put it back on a decocker. Having these large wings on either side do get in the way. And frankly, they're painful. You come over and they gouge you in the palm of your hand, as does this oversized slide release. If you're used to taking a high tang grip and running your thumbs forward, it will come in. I don't know if you picked it up on video, but it will jab you in the meat of your thumb right here. But if you don't run it like a Glock and you run it like a Px4 Storm, you'll notice it's quick to go ahead and use this large oversized release as a release, not a slide stop, but a slide release. Go ahead and use it like that. And your thumb's right in reach for your decocker and your safety if you choose to use so. It is slow to take off of safe, but it's quick to put on and decock. Again, mixed feelings on that. You figure out what you like. You form your own opinion. That is definitely on you. So that's one of the things. One of the other things that's really different from a traditional platform is you have a rotating barrel. I don't know how well you're picking this up on video, but you can actually see the barrel will rotate. Now, this is compared to the traditional Browning style where you have the tilting barrel. This will actually rotate and locks up. Some of the cool features that results from that is mitigated recoil. So this gun is chambered at 40, and that's probably one of my biggest issues with it. Again, I'm going to go on a 40 rant. Not a huge fan. most of you know why a lot of people don't like 40. And yes, I'm one of those people. I prefer 45 or 9mm. I feel like the snap and the recoil you get from the 40 isn't worth the performance you get out of the round. But my opinion, again, form your own opinion. If this gun was a 9mm, I'd probably like it quite a bit more. Sorry, I digress. Back to the barrel. That being said, I think because of this barrel, it really tames the recoil. It really does. It tames the recoil down, and it's probably one of the softer shooting 40 cals that I've ever shot. It's still pretty snappy, but it's still fairly soft. Another benefit of having that rotating barrel is your lockup. So you have locking cams at the bottom, and you get 180 degree lockup down there. It's very similar to a bolt action rifle, so it is a very accurate firearm if you take your time with it, especially combined with this trigger. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead and talk a little bit about the trigger. For a double action trigger, it is extremely smooth, and I was training with this for a little bit with the laser on the front, and I was definitely able to hold it very straight and be able to pull straight to the rear with a very smooth trigger. That being said, reset's a little bit long, and your single action is a little bit mushy before you get to that break. But when you get to that break, it feels pretty good. So I have no complaints with the trigger. As a matter of fact, that's probably one of the best things that this gun has going for it as a single double action. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at the size. Overall, we're going to go ahead and I tried to compare it to the Glock 19 at first because everybody knows the Glock 19, but it just made more sense to compare it to the 17. So one thing you'll notice with these two guns is they're very similar in size. I guess if you really want to, make sure I'm in camera there, really want to match up your tang to your tang right here, your beaver tail, it's going to be a little bit longer, but if you go grip to grip, it's just about the same exact length as the Glock 17 is, as well as very close to the same height. You will have a little bit more height with the, there we go, it's lined up with the Storm, with the PX4, but nothing that's all that notable. Very similar in weight as well with the Glock 17, which is industry standard, and I think most people know of the dimensions of the Glock 17. That being said, it's chunky. It's very chunky. It's chunky to the point where I wouldn't consider carrying it concealed. I know there's people that do, but combination of that and all the little wings and sharp edges sticking out, I do not see this as being the best concealed carry gun. But again, that's up to you to decide on what you want to do. Overall, it's a good gun. Overall, I don't think you'd be upset picking up a gun like this, especially coming in at right around $500. I've seen them online for right around $469. I don't know what Chris paid for this one, but I know that it wasn't a ton, and that's really good value for the price. I mean, if you look at what else you're going to pick up, whether it's a 92, Beretta 92 or a SIG, you get up into that price range, you're not gonna be able to compare when it comes down to price. I do prefer the 92 or the M9 over this particular gun, but that's my own personal opinion. Overall, like I said, soft shooting, considering it's a 40 caliber, very accurate. It does a great job. Now the standard sights are just standard 3-dot night sights. And being in California, we are subject to only having 10-round magazines. As a matter of fact, I know a 9mm, it does come with 17-round mags, which would be a big selling point. And I'm not 100% positive what the capacity is of 40. I probably should have looked that up before shooting this video. I do apologize for that. Yeah, overall, again, I'm going to go say that this is a good gun. I did have a few malfunctions while shooting it, but I think it was user error. It's tough for me to admit. I've been shooting for a long time, and I haven't had very many issues with very many other guns. But Chris hasn't had any malfunctions with this gun, not a single one, and I know he has quite a few rounds through it. I believe he has over several thousand through it. And probably the 100 I put through it that day. I did have a couple of malfunctions. I had 2 stovepipes and I had a failure to feed. I believe we have footage of that. We'll see about maybe rolling that in if we do. If not, sorry. But again, very well could have been lip wristing, could have been user error.
What's going on?
Not really sure. Again, overall, great gun. Not the gun for me, but it might be the gun for you. So it's worth taking a look at, and it's worth giving it a try. If you have any questions, please feel free to post below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.